What if the silent rush for gold wasn't just an economic move, but a dark sign of what's to come? While billions go about their lives, a shadowy elite is hoarding golden wealth in preparation for a collapse that could shake the very foundations of our world. What do they know that you don't? In this video, we will uncover the secrets behind this desperate pursuit of gold, an asset that, for many, is the last refuge against impending chaos. Secret bunkers, central banks converting wealth into physical metal, and plans that go beyond mere survival. All of this ties into a theory many would rather keep hidden. The end of the world is coming, and the elite are already preparing for it. Get ready for a deep investigation, with evidence and reports that expose what could be the greatest conspiracy of our time. The truth is buried, and now it's time to dig deep. Since early 2023, an unusual movement has caught the attention behind the scenes of the global financial system. Central banks from powers like China, Russia, Turkey, and India have intensified, almost in sync, their massive purchases of gold bars. What seemed at first glance like a common reaction to economic instability revealed itself as something far more coordinated. The numbers don't lie. Just in the first quarter of 2025, demand for physical gold grew 13%, surpassing any recent historical average. The global elite isn't investing in stocks, technology, or innovation. They're hoarding gold, silently, away from the headlines, as if they know that the value of paper and everything it represents is about to collapse. The gold rush, however, is not limited to governments. Billionaires from Silicon Valley, energy magnates, and high-level investors have also been acquiring tons of the precious metal. Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, Ray Dalio, all of them discreetly have increased their exposure to physical gold, not through funds. But sources close to financial institutions suggest they were alerted by documents not released to the public, forecasting a possible global monetary system rupture before the decade ends. This is not mere speculation. It's preparation, survival, access to privileged information most will never see. Gold has become the silent anchor of those who know the real plan underway. Independent experts and economic intelligence analysts have begun drawing unsettling parallels between this movement and patterns that preceded major historical collapses. Before World War I, the 1929 crash, and the Soviet Union's fall, financial elites also sought protection in gold. But the difference now is the volume. There has never been such an accelerated, coordinated, and deliberate accumulation. The question echoing in the shadows: why now? What is about to happen that justifies this almost desperate behavior from the controllers of global wealth? When an ordinary investor buys gold, it's precaution. But when the entire system decides to protect itself simultaneously, it's a sign that something has already begun, and it's being hidden. The most alarming fact is the complete absence of in-depth journalistic coverage on the subject. The mainstream media, controlled by the same corporations that make up this exclusive circle, treat the matter as a footnote. When they mention it, it's to justify it as a hedge against inflation or protection in uncertain times. But they don't explain why central banks, which previously held mostly dollar reserves, are now disposing of US bonds and exchanging them for gold. This is not just an economic strategy. It's a paradigm shift, as if they were preparing to operate in a completely new system where money as we know it simply ceases to exist. Classified reports obtained by independent researchers point to closed-door meetings in Davos, Geneva, and Abu Dhabi, where topics like collapse of trust in the monetary system and global currency reconfiguration were openly discussed among the elite. The proposals allegedly involve replacing the current fiat system with something based on physical assets, starting with gold. But this would not be implemented for everyone, only for those who are prepared. For the rest of the population, the collapse will come as an unexpected blackout. Suddenly, inflation will no longer be the problem. What will follow will be something much more brutal: the total loss of currency value, access to essential goods, and control over one's own livelihood. Gold, in this scenario, is not just a refuge. It's a password, a kind of access pass for a new system already being designed behind the scenes. It's no coincidence that it's being accumulated in underground vaults, away from the public eye. It's no coincidence that governments are restricting free trade of gold among citizens. What is unfolding is a silent transition to something only the chosen few will know in advance. And if this gold rush is, in fact, a clear sign that the collapse has already begun, the elite knows. The banks know. And you? Are you prepared? While the world grapples with inflation, unrest, and an ever-growing sense of uncertainty, the elite quietly retreat to fortified strongholds scattered across the globe. These are no ordinary bunkers. They are sprawling, self-sustaining fortresses equipped with the latest technology, hidden in remote locations like New Zealand, Patagonia, and Scandinavia. From luxury shelters deep underground to isolated mountain compounds, these sanctuaries are designed to withstand not just economic collapse, but nuclear fallout, biological threats, and social chaos. Documents leaked from private security firms reveal contracts worth billions, detailing the construction of these hidden refuges. Among the buyers are not just billionaires but heads of state and influential global families. The secrecy surrounding these projects is intense. Many details remain classified, hidden behind layers of corporate and governmental non-disclosure agreements. Yet, hints emerge from whistleblowers and anonymous sources who speak of underground cities capable of housing thousands, complete with hydroponic farms, water purification systems, and stockpiles of essential supplies. The choice of locations is strategic. New Zealand's isolation, Patagonia's harsh terrain, and Scandinavia's natural resources make them perfect for survival when modern society collapses. But it's not only geography that matters. These bunkers are designed to keep the occupants completely disconnected from the outside world. Communications are heavily monitored or blocked, creating a sealed bubble where only those inside have control. It's a modern-day fortress of solitude, but on a scale never seen before. Insiders claim these shelters are not just for survival, but for the preservation of power. As the global system teeters on the edge, the elite plan to emerge from their hideouts ready to control what remains. The rest of the world, left outside the gates, would face scarcity, chaos, and total dependence on whoever controls these strongholds. This divide is no longer theory, it's happening. And it's happening now. Yet, the public narrative remains silent. Mainstream media either ignore these preparations or dismiss them as conspiracy theories. But the evidence is there. Permits for bunker construction have skyrocketed, security contracts have ballooned, and luxury underground real estate is the fastest growing market among the ultra-wealthy. What exactly are they preparing for? A natural disaster? A geopolitical war? Or something far more sinister? If the elite's retreat into these fortified refuges is a sign, what does it say about the future for the rest of us? Are we mere spectators to an impending apocalypse, or unwitting participants in a carefully orchestrated plan to remake the world in their image? The shadows grow deeper, and the truth remains buried beneath layers of secrecy. But the question lingers: who will survive when the doors finally close? In 2021, an advanced artificial intelligence system, fed with vast amounts of global data, produced a chilling forecast: a systemic collapse looming before 2030. The details were buried deep within classified reports, quickly suppressed by agencies determined to keep the public in the dark. Yet, fragments leaked, encrypted messages, hidden codes, point to warnings that were delivered directly to the highest echelons of power. The AI's algorithms analyzed patterns too complex for human minds, exposing vulnerabilities in economies, ecosystems, and social structures. What was revealed was not mere speculation, but a grim inevitability. This AI, developed under a secretive government program, was designed to analyze every economic, environmental, and geopolitical variable. Its predictions included cascading failures of financial systems, catastrophic climate anomalies, and unprecedented social upheavals. The report's sudden disappearance from official records raises unsettling questions. What truths were deemed too dangerous to reveal? And who made the decision to silence the warning? The fear of mass panic or loss of control could explain the cover-up, but the deeper reason may lie in darker agendas, hidden beyond public scrutiny. Whistleblowers from intelligence agencies have hinted at panic within the elite circles after receiving these AI forecasts. Meetings behind closed doors, emergency protocols activated, and massive resource reallocations suggest a preparation for an event considered inevitable. But while the public remains distracted by staged news and manipulated narratives, a silent countdown seems to be ticking in the shadows. This orchestrated silence fuels the sense that something monumental is approaching, one that only a select few are ready to face. The AI's prophecy also touches on the rise of new technologies that could either save or doom humanity, autonomous weapons, bioengineering, and digital surveillance growing exponentially. It warns of a world divided between those who control the AI's secrets and the masses left to fend for themselves. Could this intelligence be the key to understanding the true scale of the coming crisis? Its cryptic messages suggest that technology will not be the salvation many expect, but a weapon in an invisible war. As the years draw closer to 2030, the suppressed reports gain new significance. Activists and independent researchers have begun piecing together leaked data, revealing a web of hidden agendas and covert operations. The question remains, are we witnessing the silent march toward a controlled collapse? Or is this AI's warning a self-fulfilling prophecy designed to manipulate the future? Each new leak adds to the growing mosaic of fear and suspicion that surrounds this hidden dossier. In this unfolding enigma, one thing is clear: the truth is veiled, yet its impact will shake the very foundations of civilization. But what happens when the prophecy is finally confronted? Will humanity rise to the challenge or succumb to the shadows foreseen by a machine's cold logic? The clock is ticking, and the answers lie buried in classified files and secret meetings, waiting for those brave enough to seek them. The Earth's magnetic field is weakening at an alarming rate, a phenomenon well documented by scientists but rarely disclosed with urgency to the public. Satellite data confirm that the intensity of the magnetic shield has dropped nearly 10% over the last century, with some regions experiencing much more rapid decline. This magnetic shield is humanity's first defense against deadly cosmic radiation and solar storms. Without it, communication systems would falter, satellites would fail, and power grids could collapse in cascading blackouts. Yet, this silent crisis remains obscured from mainstream discourse, buried beneath layers of scientific jargon and media indifference. Historical records show that Earth's magnetic poles have flipped multiple times over millions of years, a process known as geomagnetic reversal. The last full reversal occurred roughly 780,000 years ago, and evidence suggests we might be overdue. Geologists have found magnetic anomalies in volcanic rocks and sediment layers pointing to chaotic shifts in the magnetic field. If the reversal is underway, it could unleash unprecedented disruptions, not just technological, but environmental and biological. Some experts warn of increased radiation exposure, climate shifts, and mass extinctions tied to past flips, though these claims remain highly controversial and often silenced. Behind the scenes, governments and military agencies are reportedly preparing for the worst. Classified documents hint at contingency plans involving hardened underground facilities, electromagnetic shielding, and restricted airspace zones during peak solar events. Whistleblowers claim that the global elite are aware of the timelines and implications, yet the public remains ignorant, kept distracted by manufactured crises and political theater. Could this strategic silence be a deliberate effort to avoid widespread panic, or to mask the extent of their own preparations and control? Some researchers speculate that the magnetic field's weakening might be linked to deeper, unexplained forces, anomalies in Earth's core, cosmic influences, or even secretive geoengineering projects. Reports of mysterious underground experiments and unusual seismic activity add layers of complexity to an already obscure mystery. The idea that powerful entities might manipulate or accelerate the magnetic processes challenges conventional science and opens the door to a darker narrative, one where natural phenomena intertwine with human intervention and clandestine agendas. If the magnetic reversal accelerates suddenly, the consequences would ripple through every facet of modern life. GPS navigation would become unreliable, power grids could experience massive failures, and increased solar radiation might impact health on a global scale. This looming disaster scenario fits eerily with the elite's accumulation of gold and bunker building, hinting at a coordinated response to an unavoidable cataclysm. Are these just coincidences, or signs of a calculated strategy to survive what most will not? The full extent of the magnetic field's decay remains hidden behind classified science and government secrecy. The question that haunts many is not if, but when the reversal will strike, and whether humanity will be caught unprepared in the resulting chaos. As the invisible shield wanes, a new era of uncertainty dawns, leaving us to wonder, how much longer can the world as we know it endure before the magnetic storm breaks loose? Whispers within secretive circles speak of an enigmatic initiative known only as Project Arkansas. This project reportedly involves the clandestine storage of genetic material, seeds, and digital data deep underground, far from prying eyes. Billionaires and powerful elites are said to be financing these vaults, designed not just to safeguard life but to preserve a select lineage in the face of a looming apocalypse. Documents leaked over the years hint at massive DNA banks, seed vaults in Arctic zones, and encrypted archives containing humanity's collective knowledge. But what ultimate purpose drives this obsession with preservation? This isn't merely about survival, it's about control. By hoarding genetic blueprints and cultural memory, the elite could be preparing to repopulate and reshape the world according to their own vision once the global collapse has passed. The Svalbard Global Seed Vault, often cited in these discussions, is just one piece of a much larger, shadowy puzzle. Sources suggest that similar vaults exist on multiple continents, each guarded with military precision. The layers of secrecy surrounding these facilities raise questions. What truths are buried alongside these seeds and genes? Historical precedents reveal a pattern of elites preserving knowledge and bloodlines in times of crisis. From hidden libraries to secret societies safeguarding forbidden knowledge, humanity has long witnessed the power of controlled information. Project Ark could be the modern incarnation of this age-old strategy, designed to withstand not only physical destruction but also the erasure of history itself. The existence of encrypted digital archives within these vaults hints at a digital resurrection plan, an attempt to reboot civilization with a curated collective memory. Yet, whispers of Project Ark intersect with darker rumors, genetic experiments, selective breeding, and attempts to create a superior human lineage. Some reports, though unconfirmed, mention clandestine laboratories and research facilities working under the veil of national security. Could the elite's quest for survival also be a quest for ultimate genetic dominion? The moral implications are staggering, adding a chilling layer of occult and scientific fusion to the mystery. Financial records and investigative journalism have traced large sums funneled into biotech firms and seed vault constructions, linking shadowy figures from finance, politics, and tech industries. These investments coincide suspiciously with global instability and the elite's other survival preparations. The convergence of money, power, and genetics suggests a coordinated response to a crisis beyond public understanding. Could this be the blueprint for humanity's future, or a dystopian reset controlled by an exclusive few? As the veil lifts on Project Ark, many questions remain unanswered. What exactly are the elites preserving? Is it hope for rebirth, or a plan to monopolize survival? The silence around these vaults echoes louder than any public disclosure. And as global tensions rise, one must ask, who truly holds the keys to humanity's future, hidden deep beneath the Earth's surface, ready to emerge after the end? The world's central banks have dramatically increased their gold reserves, breaking records with unprecedented purchases. This shift isn't about mere investment. It signals a deeper, more urgent strategy. Since 2023, these financial powerhouses have converted vast amounts of digital wealth into tangible assets. Behind closed doors, whispers tell of a coming collapse of fiat currency systems, a collapse so catastrophic that only physical gold will retain value. Could central banks be positioning themselves not just as economic leaders but as survivors of a new world order? The stakes are higher than ever, and every ounce of gold could determine who controls the future. The question lingers. What do they know that we do not? Evidence points to a coordinated global effort. Official reports confirm a 13% rise in gold acquisitions in the first quarter of 2025 alone. Yet, official narratives avoid connecting these moves to the increasing instability in geopolitics, economics, or even environmental disasters. The secrecy surrounding these purchases raises questions about what information governments and elites are withholding from the public. Are these banks preparing for a financial apocalypse that the masses remain blind to? Hidden agendas seem to guide every transaction, as if a shadow force is quietly shaping the fate of nations. What truths lie buried beneath these layers of silence? This obsession with gold harks back to its timeless role as a refuge during crises. Unlike digital currencies, gold cannot be hacked, printed, or manipulated with software updates. Its physicality and rarity make it the ultimate safeguard against inflation, economic warfare, and political collapse. The central bank's hoarding suggests they anticipate a breakdown in the global financial infrastructure, where traditional assets will be rendered useless and gold will become the new currency of survival. The symbolism of gold transcends mere wealth. It is power, safety, and continuity. Could this ancient metal be the key to enduring the unraveling of modern civilization? But the implications go beyond economics. Some theorists argue that central banks are not just safeguarding wealth but consolidating power for a post-collapse elite society. By stockpiling gold, they ensure control over essential resources in a future where scarcity will dominate. This could signal a shift from financial stewardship to a survivalist mentality, where central banks morph into gatekeepers of a new social hierarchy. Those with gold survive, and others perish. The lines between economic strategy and existential survival blur in these calculated moves. What role will these institutions play when the world as we know it ceases to exist? Additionally, behind the scenes, new alliances form between central banks, private wealth managers, and secretive organizations. Reports mention meetings held in undisclosed locations, where future scenarios are debated and contingency plans forged. These gatherings hint at a shadow governance system, orchestrating the transformation of global power structures away from public oversight. What is the price of such control? And who will be left standing after the dust settles? The hidden hand that guides these events remains invisible, yet its influence is vast and unyielding. How deep does this rabbit hole go? As gold glimmers beneath the surface of these hidden maneuvers, one must wonder, is the accumulation a prudent hedge or a signal of impending doom? The stark reality is that central banks may be preparing for more than economic turbulence. They may be bracing for the end of the world as we know it. The final moves in this high-stakes game remain shrouded in secrecy, leaving us to question what lies just beyond the horizon. The world watches in ignorance, while a silent storm gathers in the shadows. What comes next may change everything. The World Economic Forum's Great Reset is presented as a global initiative for rebuilding a more sustainable future. But beneath the polished speeches lies a darker narrative. Insiders whisper that this reset is the final act of a covert operation to restructure the world's power dynamics. It is said to be a plan where only a select few will thrive while billions are left behind, discarded by a new system that prioritizes control over freedom. This shadow agenda is fueled by economic collapse, social unrest, and environmental crises, all engineered or exploited to justify sweeping changes. What if the reset is not a solution, but a prelude to domination? Documents leaked over recent years reveal discussions of controlling populations through surveillance, digital currencies, and AI-driven governance. This transformation is marketed as progress but may mask a dystopian reality, a world where privacy is obsolete and autonomy is surrendered to algorithms. The elite's vision involves reshaping society to fit their interests, enforcing strict hierarchies disguised as order. They anticipate a future where dissent is crushed and compliance is rewarded. The question remains, how far has this plan advanced, and what role will the Great Reset play in orchestrating the endgame for the masses? Beyond economics and politics, the Great Reset touches every facet of life, from food production to personal freedoms. The pandemic provided a convenient catalyst to accelerate these changes, normalizing unprecedented restrictions and controls. Behind closed doors, plans for global digital IDs, social credit systems, and resource rationing take shape. The implications are staggering: a society fundamentally altered, where survival depends on allegiance to the new order. The reset may appear as rebirth, but could it instead be the final curtain on human liberty? What secrets are hidden behind the slogans and promises? Amid growing public skepticism, official narratives push unity and resilience, dismissing critics as conspiracy theorists. Yet, the evidence reveals a coordinated strategy executed by interconnected elites, governments, corporations, and secretive groups working in concert. Financial institutions redirect wealth, while media shapes perception, all while the general population remains largely unaware of the stakes involved. The reset's architects control not just policies but the very flow of information, ensuring their version of reality prevails. Who watches the watchers when the watchers become rulers? The scale of this undertaking suggests a long-term, generational plan rather than a spontaneous reaction. The manipulation of crises, from climate to health, is part of a larger design to remake global society in a controlled image. The reset promises sustainability, but critics warn it could enslave humanity under the guise of salvation. Resistance movements rise, but face overwhelming odds against a system with near-infinite resources and technological power. How will the balance of power shift as the reset unfolds? And who will emerge as the true victors in this hidden war? As the Great Reset advances, the world stands at a crossroads between hope and fear, freedom and control, survival and submission. The final phase may already be underway, concealed beneath layers of bureaucratic language and public relations. What comes next could redefine civilization itself, marking the end of an era and the dawn of another. Will humanity awaken to the reality before it's too late? Or will we become pawns in a game designed by unseen hands? The answers remain obscured, waiting for those brave enough to seek the truth. Now, after everything we've revealed, do you still wonder what is really behind this rush for gold? Are we facing an imminent global collapse, quietly prepared by an elite that holds the true power? Or is this all just coincidence, a mere economic strategy? The evidence points to a much larger plot, where governments, billionaires, and financial institutions move in secret, hiding their intentions from the public. But what else hasn't been told to us? What are the next steps of this hidden conspiracy? And you? Do you believe this gold rush is just a precaution, or a clear sign that the end is near? Leave your opinion in the comments, share your doubts and theories. If you want to keep exploring the secrets no one wants you to uncover, like, share, subscribe to the channel, and activate notifications. The truth is out there, buried beneath layers of silence and manipulation. Now, it's up to you to decide how far you want to go on this journey.